Hey, everybody. Welcome back inside the video podcast room of the State Champs Sports Network studios on the backside of the campus of Lawrence Technological University in Southfield, Michigan. My name is Lorne Plant. It is week 8 of the Michigan high school football season. I cannot believe it, but it's true. And this is Michigan Extra Point Live.
Finish line is near.
It's coming. You could see us live every week on State Champs Michigan's Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube channel. One of the biggest high school sports fans I've ever met. We're lucky to have him share his passion with us every week. The superb Scott Burnstein.
Thanks, man. It's getting you feel a chill in the air. You smell the Thanksgiving that it's approaching. That we're going to be headed towards Ford Field soon, having turkey, crowning state champions. It's only a stone's throw away, and the games that you get towards the end of the season, I think, really foreshadow that kind of intensity, that kind of everyone just all in to win it, and scratching and clawing every step of the way, trying to get into the playoffs, trying to make a run, and this is such an amazing time of the year. That's right. Scott was at the Battle of Birmingham tonight between Groves and Seaholm, two 4-1 teams in the OAA White. Yeah, Seaholm got out to a fast start and was leading 14-7, and then Groves scored in the final couple seconds of the first half to make it 14-13. They decided to go for 2. Yeah. Went up 15. Well, I'll tell you what. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Never mind. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. I promise. Pull that down just a little bit. Just there you go. A little squirt. There you go. Good. All right, back with us as promised, the magnificent Genna Skalski. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I got to meet Darius Slay at the game, North Farmington and Farmington. So
big play, Slay.
That's right. Okay.
Cool game.
Yep. All right, good. Genna, as she says, was at our main event tonight, which was for the first time in history that both Farmington and North Farmington were both 7-0 going into their annual tussle in the OAA Blue. The last time Farmington was 7-0, period, was 2010. For North Farmington, it was 1984. I will bet that is when a young Matt Shepard was the signal caller for the Raiders. And we'll get to that score and what happened in that one in just a minute. But it will be our game of the week on State Champs TV. We call it the main event. The highlights will be up later tonight, early tomorrow morning, if that's the way you look at it. All State Champs socials and at statechampsnetwork.com in about 15 minutes. Hopefully, we're going to talk to the winning head coach, having a little issue with the digits. So we'll see if we can connect with him or not. Our brand new streaming apps development is rolling along, so I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. We had another construction update yesterday, and it should be out before the football season is over, so we're very excited about that. The irreplaceable Matt Mowry will be joining us on the phone later in the show. Matt took in, I know he'll be joining us on the phone. Matt took in the Goodrich versus Fenton game tonight, which was for the Flint Metro Crown. Our producer tonight is the lovely Kia Taya. She is back in here. Didn't think she'd be here. I thought we would have the techno wizard, Kevin Trzynski, but we have Kia.
On the ones and twos.
That's right.
Wheels of steel.
That's right. In the helm there. Working the live chat tonight, of course, always the fascinating David Bodine. Coming up also tonight before we're through the latest MHSAA Minute on the upcoming high school football selection Sunday next weekend. 24/7. Can you believe that?
We'll have Selection Sunday coming up in a week.
I know. 24/7 Sports. Alan True will have this week's recruit report. So Jenna's about to get to tonight's scores, but first, it's homecoming weekend at Lawrence Technological University. You will soon graduate from this fine university. I did not preface this by any means, meaning I didn't set her up for it, but what do you think, in a nutshell, has been the best part of your LTU experience, getting a chance to go here?
Yes, the best part of my LTU experience has definitely been the class sizes and the connections I've been able to make with my...
Hold on. We want to hear you. So pull.
Hello.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Better.
Okay, so the best part of going to Lawrence Tech is the class sizes, because I've been able to make so many connections with my professors and being able to network, see who they know. And, of course, I was able to end up here at State Champs through Lawrence Tech because we have such a good relationship, and it's been a great hands-on learning. Again, our saying is theory and practice, and they definitely put that to work in the classroom.
They drop you into the deep end of the pool, and they're like, swim.
Yes, exactly. And when you say class sizes, literally, what is the average class size that you attend?
Oh, man. Okay, so for media communications, probably around 10, 11, 12.
Wow.
It's
intimate.
smaller.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So 10, 11 in a university course. So again, like she's saying, you can't help but have interaction with your professor. He knows each and every one of you by name, and probably knows your families too. So the good thing, lots of great things here. That's just an example of it. So the homecoming this year in terms of football is the in-state rival Siena Heights. That's going to be a tough battle tomorrow. I'll be handling the PA duties. Kickoff is at noon. Tickets are extremely reasonable. It's going to be a gorgeous 62 degrees tomorrow. Come on out and support NAIA college football. The stadium's at the corner of 10 Mile and Northwestern Highway. We call it Blue Devil Stadium. So we also want to thank Hungry Howie's, of course. I know Scott's chomping at the bit for a slice of pie.
I was like, where's my pizza? Give me my Asiago crust.
I know. So, and again, I'm not sure if we have Asiago again, but, you know.
Any type of flavor crust, I'm good with.
You're good with it. And we have the box here representing, of course, Hungry Howie's. It will be filled deliciously with pizza. There might even be a selection for Jenna before.
The first thing I said when I walked in the office, Lauren hadn't got here yet. I was like, where's the pizza?
Exactly. But we do thank Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. And we want you to vote in the Mr. Football and the Anvil Award competitions at StateChampsNetwork.com. Check out the weekly updates on both races at StateChampsNetwork.com and on social media. We're going to talk briefly about who we feel maybe are the front runners for Mr. Football. We'll do that just a little later in the show. I'd also like to thank the Michigan High School Athletic Association. We have a banner link at StateChampsNetwork.com that will take you directly to the MHSAA score page. That is where you go for scores. As a subscriber to MHSAA.tv, as many as 30 live high school football games every week streaming. Playoffs are coming up. $6 a month. You won't miss a minute. All right, it is week 8. It's time for the scores. We're going to begin with the teams ranked in the state champs top 25. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to let Jenna read them all, and then we'll comment as to some of the outcomes.
All right. So our number 1 ranked Muskegon beat Muskegon Mona Shores 53-0. Number 2 Belleville took on Livonia Franklin. They won 39-29. Chippewa Valley, now they took on Romeo, and they got that win 21-17. This was a big clinch for Chippewa Valley, the MAC Red, for second year straight. Number 4 West Bloomfield beat Oxford 48-0. Rockford lost to Granville. This was a big upset, 30-3. Oak Park won against Troy Athens 41-6. Birmingham Groves defeated Birmingham Seaholm 35-14. Next up, we have number 9 ranked Midland. They beat Bay City John Glenn 56-0. Next up is number 10 ranked Lake Orion. They beat Clarkston 55-21. Sorry, a lot of numbers on here. All right, and then number 11 Plymouth. They are currently undefeated. They beat Salem 49-0. Chelsea took on Tecumseh. They beat them 41-0. Up next, we have number 13, Edwardsburg. They beat Allegan 63-20. And then Mount Pleasant, they lost to Midland Dow. This was an upset again, and they lost 13-12. And then number 15, Walled Lake Western. They beat Walled Lake Northern 35-10. Dearborn Forson took the W against Dearborn, winning 38-10. Brownstown Woodhaven beat Trenton 42-21. And then up next, number 18, Lapeer. They beat Birmingham Brother Rice 34-10. I know. And then number 19, Byron Center. They won against Hudsonville Unity Christian 33-20. Up next, number 20, Saline. They took on and beat Ann Arbor Pioneer 56-13. Number 22, Davison. They won against Saginaw Arthur Hill 55-0. And then number 23, South Lyon. They took on Milford and they beat them 55-27. Our number 24th ranked team, Grosse Pointe South, beat Grosse Pointe North 42-0. And number 25, Battle Creek Lakeview beat Kalamazoo Lay Norris 54-14.
Okay, thank you, Jenna. If you're interested in seeing the updates in Matt Mowry's top 25 rankings, they come out every Monday. Click the rankings link at StateChampsNetwork.com. Now, before we get to some other scores from key games, Scott, what interests you the most in terms of outcomes tonight?
I would have to say that congratulations to Coach Jim Sparks. His Clawson squad ended up winning the I believe the MAC Gold.
Yeah, beat Clintondale.
Beat Clintondale for the title. So I was watching that. Love what Coach Sparks does over with the Clawson Trojans. They're always competitive. I was at Groves Seaholm. I really like what I saw from Groves in the second half. I think they're primed for another deep run of the state tournament. They got two of the most underappreciated game-changing talents in Metro Detroit and senior quarterback Marcus Alexander and senior tailback Ralph Donaldson. Both these kids really, don't get the recruiting love that you think they would get when you go to the game and you see how much swagger these guys have, how many big plays they make on a consistent basis, just chunk play after chunk play. Alexander is a true gunslinger. He threw for about 275 today, 3 touchdowns. I think he only has 1 or 2 offers, and I think they're both Division I AA. But I've talked to some scouts that say he is without question a top 5 quarterback in the state. So, all you college scouts that are looking at the Division I ranks, they're looking, maybe mid-majors, looking for a signal caller for your class of 2020, get out to 13 Mile. And check out Marcus Alexander. Ralph Donaldson does it on both sides of the ball. As a tailback, he's electric, and as a safety, he's a true quarterback of the secondary. So I'm expecting another long run from Groves, West Bloomfield, and Lake Orion. I expected those kind of blowout wins, and they both kind of chalked it, par for the course. Big W's. One of the games that I was really looking forward to today, and we'll talk to, I think, Coach Herstein, was the North Farmington game, and hats off to the Raiders taking that dub and looking for the first undefeated regular season for North Farmington. I'm guessing,
yes,
since '84 was '84. Did they go undefeated in the regular season?
No, they did not.
So probably since the Ron Holland era of the 1970s. I'll say about Grosse Pointe South, Grosse Pointe North. I think there needs to be a campaign to bring Coach Frank back to Grosse Pointe North to get that program, back up on the saddle and riding tall once again to see what's happened in these last couple of years since he's left. And
really unbelievable.
Unfortunately, I did not like the way that all ended, and he deserved better than that. And so Walled Lake Western, another team that's just really cruising right now. I think Zach Trainer was back after going into concussion protocol, and they just got so many playmakers out there. I expect a long tournament run from them. And
okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you something that was impressive to me, and again, one of the games I was really looking forward to seeing was Chippewa Valley and Romeo. We'll have highlights of this game on State Champs this week. Romeo came in. Again, they were, I think, ready to be the team that could take down the Big Reds.
They played them tough.
Yes, they played them tough, and it was going to be a hard game, especially the fact that it was going to be at Chip Valley's crib. And, the Big Reds just find a way to win, and this is what they do. 21-17, the final. They clinched the MAC Red again.
It's strange for me to say this, but I almost feel like in the MAC Red, Scott Merchant should be the coach of the year. It's kind of weird to say that for a defending state champion,
right?
But I thought they would be a 7-2 team at best,
right?
They're undefeated and just locked and loaded for a run at a repeat, and they lost so much talent off of last year's team. It's just a credit to Merchant.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think where we're going to get probably the most intrigue maybe in the playoffs is a division like a Division III when you throw in the Orchard Lakes and the Muskegans and probably the Kings of the world. But when you look at Division I and you see where our top 3 teams are, 1, 2, and 3, Muskegon, Belleville, Chip Valley, all undefeated, most likely will be going into,
and then West Bloomfield 6-1. They were the consensus number 1 team in the state, kind of across the board.
Yes, and Rockford with just 1 loss.
Yeah, and
so that's our top 5 teams right now, all Division I. It's really interesting, and so we're going to see what happens.
And then Lake Orion. I mean,
right,
that's to me, you can't call them a sleeper anymore.
Right.
But you want to talk about the surprise of the season for a team that I'm looking at right now and saying, like, this team could be playing at Ford Field.
And if they didn't have to play on 2 days, probably beats West Bloomfield.
They're so balanced.
Don't lose in overtime.
They have so much chemistry.
You know what I'm saying? If they had to go and play that game on Saturday.
Yep, I agree. So much chemistry, so much balance, so much playmaking, and just it really a tip of the hat to Coach Blackstock.
And a team that was really almost left for dead for the last few years. Just
they were just
nowhere.
A non-factor after winning the state championship in 10, I believe, and going to go to the state title game in 08.
Yeah.
And then they kind of dipped off a little bit, but they're back with a vengeance in 2019.
All right, so we're going to now get to some other key games tonight from around the state. Now, again, I want to mention Matt Mowry also ranks the smaller schools in terms of Division 4 through Division 8, and he also ranks 8-player football, too. In fact, we'll have highlights from 2 8-player games from the UP this week on State Champs. So when you see the SS, that's small school. They're ranked third, so I'm sure you went over it. So let's get to some other key games from tonight. Jenna.
All right, so both of these teams, honorable mentions. We have North Farmington beating Farmington 13-9.
It's more of a defensive battle than we thought.
Yeah.
Yep, and then Fenton took the W against Goodrich, 42-21. That's also an FME title game. Detroit Catholic Central lost to River Rouge 16-3. Montague beat Whitehall 29-8. That is also a rivalry game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Zeeland West beat Zeeland East 34-14. Grand Rapids Christian took the W from East Grand Rapids 38-31. Traverse City Central won against Escanaba 62-7.
Wow.
And then for one of our rankings for our smaller schools, number 3, Portland lost to Mason, which was a big upset. They lost 21-17. And then
I don't know if it was a huge upset. I mean, Mason was undefeated, but I see that that Mr. Fantastic there, Bodine, put upset.
Yes, he did put upset.
Yes, I saw that.
I'll
No,
read it.
that's fair. I mean, that you don't know that, but
piece of trivia: Mason, the home of
but
Malcolm
we did have small school. We had Portland ranked third, so yes, okay.
All right, and then you're fine.
Malcolm X was born in Mason.
Right.
Wow. I'll give you a piece of information.
Random information. Okay.
All right, so number 5, Marine City beat Marysville 34-3. And then ranked number 7, Pewamo Westphalia beat Fowler 41-7. Number 13 in our rankings, Lansing Catholic beat Fowlerville 56-7. And then number 16, Muskegon Oak Ridge beat Ravenna 27-20.
It's supposed to be Ravenna.
Ravenna.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
sorry,
spelled
I
it
see
wrong.
the B's.
Ravenna.
Ravenna. That
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
kind of off, but
Yeah.
I was going with it.
Yeah, you are.
All right, so Livonia Clarenceville beat Auburn Hills Oakland Christian 41-7. Montrose took on Byron. They won 50-19. Royal Oak Shrine lost to Clarkston Everest 27-14. Clawson beat Clintondale 24-6. St. Joseph took the W from DeWitt 30-14. Manchester lost to Grass Lake 25-8. Utica Eisenhower beat Macomb Dakota 21-7, and finally Breckenridge beat Oscoda 35-0.
Dakota might be out of the playoffs.
Yeah, Dakota's probably going to be out of the playoffs. They're going to have to win Week 9 and get some hope and help from somebody else losing. Okay, so interesting stuff here. Again, we have Brother Rice and Catholic Central again going down.
There's so much
tonight.
The biggest surprise for me in the Catholic Central this year. We knew that it was going to be as wide open as it's been in a long time, but these offenses are so anemic. Outside of Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Yes, you are right.
De La Salle, CC, and Rice have such trouble generating touchdowns.
Yes, you are. It's kind of like the Lions.
Yeah.
But River Rouge, give them credit for winning tonight. Again, a team that I saw Week 1 lost to Grand Rapids Catholic Central, and it was a team that you could see was clearly trying to find itself. But then they kind of go through a schedule where they don't play a lot of really tough competition. Then all of a sudden you got Detroit Catholic Central, which was great by.
Oh, I love that matchup.
Yeah, exactly.
At this time of the year.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it was great that Coach Parker booked that game. And again, they get a win, so that's a huge lift for them as they head into the playoffs. Remember, last year, it's very interesting in Division 3, River Rouge only lost 7-6 in the first round of the playoffs. And if their quarterback, Manny Fresh, doesn't get hurt in that game, they have a chance that they're going to beat that. Well, what does King do? They go on to win the state championship.
Doesn't it look now, too, with Catholic Central, that they're going to have to beat St. Mary's in the Prep Bowl to qualify?
Probably, yeah. We'll have to look.
They're 4-4 right now.
You're probably right.
If they don't win, 5-4 will probably get them in, but obviously they're not going to get in at 4-5.
Yeah, very interesting. Good on Utica Eisenhower for beating Dakota. We haven't talked a lot about Ike at all this year. They are now.
I'm just getting a text.
6-2.
They kept Trainer out of that game for Walled Lake Western.
Okay.
The last second, I was told the other day that he was playing. So Johnny Abley.
Yeah, Abley. Yeah,
maybe the best backup in the western part of Metro Detroit.
Kind of like what the Saints have going. You know?
So
anyway,
he's a Mr. Football candidate too. So
absolutely. So real quickly, I'll mention a couple games that are going to take place tomorrow. Orchard Lake St. Mary's will be back in action, taking on Dearborn Divine Child. Renaissance and King will get together. Remember, Renaissance beat Cass Tech. So that'll be interesting to see what happens in that one. Renaissance needs a win. They're 4-3. Warren De La Salle, and this is PSL playoffs. So Warren De La Salle and Jesuit will get together. UD Jesuit. So that will be interesting to see if UD can penetrate that De La Salle defense. And Mayo and an 8-player, Mayo and Gaylord St. Mary Cathedral will play, both 6-1. That in our 8-player rankings, that's an 8 versus 10 matchup. And also we have Deckerville going up against Kingston. So Kingston, an honorable mention, Deckerville ranked 5th in 8 players. So that is what is happening right now. And so you guys are up to date. We're going to see if we can get North Farmington's head coach John Herstein on the line. If not, we'll just continue with the show. But that is what's happening for right now. But let's take our first break and show you this week's MHSAA Minute.
Today we take you inside one of our favorite days of the year, Selection Sunday. The day begins with the MHSAA staff completing the process of gathering the Week 9 scores and computing the report with the potential qualifiers. From there, teams are placed on maps by divisions and are grouped into districts and regions under the watchful eye of representatives of the Football Coaches Association. Once the final reports are generated, they are transported to Fox Sports Detroit, where the announcers and producers begin preparations for the show to reveal the pairings to teams and fans at watch parties across the state. You can watch the Selection Sunday show 7 p.m. on Fox Sports Detroit Plus, and visit our website when the show is over to check out all the pairings for this year's football playoffs.
I admit it. I love working with money, negotiating, and making big decisions. That's why I'm majoring in finance and economics at Lawrence Tech. What's truly amazing about the education here is the small class sizes that give me easy access to my professors who truly care about my future. They even helped me get a great internship. And I was able to fulfill my lifelong dream of playing college golf. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
The greatest honor a high school senior student athlete can earn? Detroit Athletic Club's Athlete of the Year. You're one of the tops in your sport. Prioritize education and giving back, like Cassius Winston, Megan Bobian, Rakia Jackson, and Aiden Hutchinson did. 6 male, 6 female nominees earn $1,000 in scholarship money, with $5,000 each to be awarded at a red carpet gala in downtown Detroit. Nominations accepted now. Download the application, dacathleteoftheyear.com.
Hungry Howie's wants to thank you. Yes, you, how long can I stay on this couch guy? Super Dad, who prevented birthday disaster. And the late night study group that ordered 17 pizzas. Thank you to the Holy Moly Did You See That fans. And thank you, Whole Slice and One Bite Kid. Because for every pizza sold in October, we make a donation to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. And together we've raised nearly $3 million just by doing what you love. Hungry? Howie's.
This is Alan True from 24/7 Sports with this week's State Champs Recruit Report brought to you by My Student Aid. We're going to start down in West Lafayette, where Purdue came up to Michigan and added 2 new recruits to their 2020 recruiting class, starting at Oak Park with wide receiver Malik Carr, a 6'5", 230-pound matchup nightmare who has 4.67 speed on the laser and the ability to go up and get the football, as he's also an excellent basketball player. He uses that leaping ability on the gridiron. Carr joins a potent Purdue offense, but of course, skill players are no good if you don't have guys blocking for them. And the Boilers also added an offensive tackle commit, Pontiac Notre Dame's Nayland Fox. Fox was verbally committed to Toledo, but the Boilers have been in contact with him for about a month and extended an offer to him on his second visit to West Lafayette, and he flipped over to the Boilers. In Fox, they gain a 6'6", 275-pound offensive tackle with great athleticism and the ability to finish blocks. Finally, Southfield A&T's Christian Fitzpatrick, a 6'4" senior wide receiver, is verbally committed to Washington State, but will be taking an official visit to Louisville. That is where his older brother Desmond Fitzpatrick plays. He took an unofficial to Louisville earlier in the season, but then also turned around and took his official to Washington State. So it looks like the Cards are trying to flip him from the Cougars. For this week's State Champs Recruit Report, I'm Alan True.
The Recruit Report is brought to you by My Student Aid, Michigan's go-to resource for student financial aid. Go to michigan.gov/MIStudentAid for more information. Hey guys, welcome back inside the State Champs Sports Network podcast studios here. This is our video podcast. We call it Michigan Extra Point Live. We do it every Friday night. And I'll tell you what, I have got to learn to dress warmer for these nights now because I swear I am still thawing out.
It didn't really get cold until the last week or two. We were into into week 5 or 6.
And I think it was only like 48
really
degrees
still.
or something, but that's enough to really freeze you up.
I had 4 pairs of socks on tonight, and I still could not feel my feet on the drive back.
Yeah, I know. It's insane.
Quick
My hands are like
quick
that.
note about the recruit
ahead.
report we just ran. Christian Fitzpatrick actually decommitted this week from Washington State. Alan was talking about how he was going to take a visit to Louisville, and Louisville was trying to flip him. Well, it's been official as of, I think, Wednesday that Fitzpatrick decommitted from Washington State. His recruiting's wide open, and it looks like Louisville is the front runner. So just adding on to what Alan
Hey, absolutely. You know, Alan records those early in the week.
Yeah.
So, again, this stuff is fluid, and it happens, and things change. And I do want to mention real quick, we've got Matt Mowry on the line. We're going to talk the Goodrich-Fenton Flint Metro League game in just a second here. But I was at Redford Thurston and Redford Union. So, in fact, this is the first Redford Union football game I think I ever have participated in or actually ever went to. And so that was kind of exciting. Now, it was at Thurston. They're playing for what they call the Superintendent's Trophy. It was a really, really good game. It ended up being 21-20. The Thurston Eagles win the game. They are now co-champions of the conference. And, if you can just bring Matt down. The winner of the Garden City and Dearborn Heights Robichaud game is going to be the co-conference champion. But they're 7-1. They're in the playoffs again. A school that we always talk about come hoop season is Redford Thurston, no doubt. But they really want to make a name for themselves football-wise. They're probably going to be in Division III, which is tough. But you know what? As I talked to the coach after the game, he basically was like, look, these are all Redford kids. These are what we play for are these games. There's a lot of schools out there that, get a lot of help, and we all know what that means. And so basically, they're really thrilled, and the guys
Meaning
are really
kids
fired
that
up.
don't actually grow up in a town
Yes,
playing
exactly.
for that town's
Yes.
football
There
team.
you go. Yes, you just put it out there. Yes, and but regardless, we'll have highlights of that game on State Champs. We'll have them up later tonight, and of course on Sunday at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit. Joining us on the line right now is Matt Mowry. He is making his way back as he took in the Goodrich-Fenton game tonight. Matt, how are you?
I am not bad. I am also still warming up from.
I know.
Yeah. It seemed like it was 80 degrees like midweek, last week?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know, man. It's Michigan, right? Blink
Right.
and it'll change.
Heavy doses of Tyson Davis tonight?
There was actually not a heavy dose of Tyson Davis
all
in
right.
this game. Tyson Davis, if for people who don't know, the Goodrich wide receiver came in with 30 catches on the season, averaging 28 yards a catch. He had 8 touchdown catches over his last 2 games, and Fenton pretty much erased him from the game. They held him to 4 catches for 15 yards, and Goodrich does everything they possibly can to get the ball in his hands. I mean, he plays on defense, he plays on special teams, returns kicks. They put him under, behind center in the shotgun to have him run the ball, but they held him to 15 yards receiving and 50 yards on 10 rushes, and they kept him out of the end zone, which pretty much right there, that was kind of the game. This is a Fenton team too that did not look good in their opener against Davison. They lost
No.
54-27, and it was one of those where a team loses like that in week 1 of the season, and they just kind of drop off your radar, and people stop talking about them, stop thinking about them.
Yep.
They've given up 55 points in the 5 weeks between week 1 and coming into tonight. And obviously, big test against Tyson Davis and that Goodrich offense, which has managed to figure out ways to score in bunches this season. And realistically, it was a 35-7 game before both coaches started putting in reserves. And we ended up with 3 touchdowns in the last 5:48, which really didn't have a whole lot of impact on the game. But yeah, that was an impressive run by a Fenton team that had really owned the Flint Metro League for the last 7 years. They'd had at least a share of the title for 7 straight seasons until last year when they finished 3rd behind Brandon and Flushing. And that was a motivator for them. There was a little chant they did after the game, a little bit of our house. And Coach Sesky said that really predates the whole Flint Metro domination, but it kind of applies. The Flint Metro has really been Fenton's house for the last 7 years. And that was a motivator coming into this season for them because they didn't like finishing 3rd. So this was the first year that the Flint Metro had expanded. They brought in some of the Genesee area conference schools as that conference kind of slipped away into oblivion, and Goodrich was one of those schools that got brought in. And since they had the 2 divisions, they were able to run more or less a championship game, which tonight was. But Fenton pretty emphatically announced that they are still the big dog in the Flint Metro.
How good did Fenton quarterback Dylan Davidson play? How well did he play?
He played well. He's a kid that got injured last year, and that was part of the reason that they struggled in the second half of the season. He was.
I think they're averaging like close to 40 a game. So the offense is churning and burning.
Yeah, and they're multidimensional. I mean, Davidson was good passing, and then they have a couple of power backs in Jaden Liness and Caleb Anderson, who scored early, and then their kid who is a part-time track star too, Brandon Miller. All he did was rush it 20 times for 165 yards and a couple of touchdowns. So as the season has gone on and the Fenton defense has kind of figured things out, that offense is a very good complement to it. And that's a team that, I mean, I know the Flint Metro is traditionally struggled a little bit in the playoffs when they start playing some of the other conferences, but this Fenton team isn't necessarily going to be an easy out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, we talk about Fenton. We always think a couple of years ago of the former Mr. Football candidate, Josh Zarnata, who really was, would kind of carry them on his back.
It's a stat machine.
Kind of like what Sullivan is doing at Davison. And besides, you said, again, looking at their lineup and how they performed has really been pretty dominating, winning their last 7 after, giving up 54 to Davison. And, again, only having that really tight matchup with Linden. And, again, if you know that area, Fenton, Linden is like they do not like each other. I mean, it's always they're always going to get up for that game, no matter what the records are for either team. And so no surprise that was a tight one, but they pulled it out. So here they go. And normally in most years they would end, they're ending the year against Walled Lake Northern. In a lot of years, Walled Lake Northern will be a tough out.
Or Walled Lake Western, I think.
Right.
Well, they're playing Walled Lake Northern this year.
Right.
Last year they fell to Walled Lake Western in the playoffs, and that was their first round matchup.
Where's Josh Zarnata playing now? Do we know?
Zarnata
was at Grand Valley.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He was where he is now. I have to look that up. But the interesting thing is, Walled Lake Northern would normally again be a really good matchup for them to get them ready for the playoffs. But unfortunately,
it's one of the more disappointing seasons, at least from an Oakland County perspective. This was a group that had been together for like 3 or 4 years, a lot of cohesion, a lot of veteran talent, and they just kind of had a lackluster campaign.
No doubt about it. But all in all, I think, Fenton should be one of those teams, and again, you got a chance to see them live tonight, Matt, that if they put it all together, can perhaps make a little bit of a run.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, obviously they're going to have to, play defense like they did tonight, and obviously not like they did in week 1 against Davidson.
Right.
And part of it was that they were able to move laterally. They're very stout up front, so Goodrich knew they were going to have to kind of hit the edges a lot, and they moved sideline to sideline very well. And it was really interesting point right near the end of the second quarter, just seconds left, and that was actually, I think, 1 tick left on the clock when they snapped the ball. 63-yard pass that comes up 5 yards short of the end zone when Brady Triola, who had a game, he had an interception. He runs a kid down from behind on this 63-yard pass. He was part of that defensive unit that really locked down on Tyson Davis. It was a key point, because if Goodrich is able to get momentum there, it's a whole different game in the second half. But yeah, if they play defense like they did tonight, it'll be a tough out.
Tyson Davis is also one of the Flint areas and in one of the state of Michigan's best basketball talents in the junior class as well.
Right.
Plays point guard and getting recruited by Division I schools in both sports.
That's right. And you better start boning up, Scott, because we're going to be talking about it
basketball
real soon.
Very soon.
Yes, exactly. It's coming up any minute. So, Matt, I want you to stay with us. So stay on the line. We're going to talk about some Hungry Howie's Mr. Football front runners. Obviously, we'll look ahead at Week 9 and kind of close out the show that way. So hang with us. We want to get your perspective on that. But right now, it is Genna with a message from the MHSAA.
Did you hear the news? Studies of high school football players who played 50 to 60 years ago did not, I repeat, not show an increased risk of neurological disorders compared to their non-playing classmates. And the game now is a lot safer than it was then. High school sports, including football, have never been safer, and sports participation is a good part of a young person's overall education. Learn more at the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
We'll be right back.
You do know you want a contest to spend the whole day with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to sit here and eat this delicious pizza?
We could do other things.
A little help?
That was the best day ever!
Some people will do anything for flavor. Now get a meal deal to fit any budget at the home of flavored crust.
Hungry?
Howie! The greatest honor a high school senior student athlete can earn, Detroit Athletic Club's Athlete of the Year. You're one of the tops in your sport. Prioritize education and giving back, like Cassius Winston, Megan Bobian, Rakia Jackson, and Aiden Hutchinson did. 6 male, 6 female nominees earn $1,000 in scholarship money, with $5,000 each to be awarded at a red carpet gala in downtown Detroit. Nominations accepted now. Download the application, DACAthleteoftheyear.com.
I chose Lawrence Tech for the architecture program and volleyball team. Architecture is a great fit for me because I love math and design. Now I combine them with technology to create beautiful structures. At Lawrence Tech, I didn't have to wait until my 3rd year to start designing. Our hands-on education begins right from day 1. And I'm really excited about LTU's Design Center in Detroit. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the final segment of this week's Michigan Extra Point Live. We hope you've been enjoying it. I have not had a chance to monitor any of the online comments for this week's show. So we will have our comments of the week that will be coming up. But again, I know a lot of you guys are out there participating and putting in scores and talking about all kinds of stuff. And again, whether it's on YouTube, if it's on Facebook, if it's on Twitter, we appreciate you. And we want to thank you very much for doing that. Now, we are going to, and again, you can't, you don't have smell-o-vision, so you don't know that the Hungry Howie pizzas have arrived and the deliciousness.
The aroma's not going through your screens.
That's right, but it is wafting into our nostrils, and we are about to dive in just a little bit. Exactly, and it's a perfect segue because we want to talk about Mr. Football. We haven't had an opportunity, and Matt Mowry, by the way, is on the line with us too. We haven't had an opportunity to talk about, in this forum, kind of where we're at with the Mr. Football race. Some of the guys.
Definitely Cam I.Am's award to lose right now. Cam Martinez.
Correct. Yes, exactly. And but
lightning in a bottle for the Muskegon Big Reds.
Before we get there, Genna, happened to be at our main event this week, which was North Farmington and Farmington. And you know who also happened to be there? Hungry Howie spokesman, Darius Slay. You may know him better as a guy who plays defensive back for the Detroit.
Slay.
That's right, for the Detroit Lions. You see the commercials. And he's been making a habit of this, of, just going to high school football games. He'll usually throw it out there on Twitter.
He puts it out there on social media like on a Wednesday and be like, what game should I go to this week? Give me suggestions. And then every Friday night he shows up and, gives these kids, I think it's an energizer to be able to look over to the sideline and see an NFL All-Pro coming to check you out.
Yeah, he was at the Port Huron Northern game last week. So got a lot of state champ symmetry going right now with Mr. Slay. If we can go with Mr. Slay. So you got a chance.
It's great for the community
to talk to him.
Yes, I did. So obviously he was reaching out to kids on Twitter what game he should be that, and especially for this one, both teams being undefeated, he just had to come. And it was really cool because even though he was interacting with fans on Twitter, he really proved that he loves seeing everybody. He was on both sides for both teams, saying hi to everyone out in the crowd. And, I was asking him... hold on one second. Sorry. Long night, right?
Yeah,
Long day getting
I know.
back
We're
to
all.
it.
I know. It was cold. I know. We're all got our headaches. Yeah. I mean, what were you talking to him about? I mean, did you ask him about Mr. Football?
Yeah, I did, and I was asking him why it was so important for someone in his position to be so involved with high school sports, and it's good reinforcement, and he's kind of setting, the tracks down for them to see that they can do the same thing as he does. He used to be in their position, so it's a great example. And then, of course, I was just asking him what message he has for the Lions fans, and he's just saying, hang in there.
He's an excellent brand ambassador for both the Detroit Lions organization and Hungry Howie's, and for a team and a franchise that doesn't always have a lot of things to be proud of and be happy about and puff your chest out about, Darius Slay is without question one of the few bright spots in an organization that has given us quite a bit of disappointment over the years.
There's no doubt about it. And I tell you what, if anything, as Lions fans, and I am one, is this season is edge of your seat, all 4 quarters. Of course, it's elation, then it's disappointment.
I mean, he won the Rams game for us.
I know.
The pick in the end zone.
Yeah,
to clinch
for
it.
sure. I know, exactly. Like I said, it usually starts out well, and then so we have that elation, that real comfortability.
It was the Chargers, not the Rams.
Yeah, that's right, the Chargers. And then it's like, oh my goodness, here's what's happening, and it's disappointment, it's dismay, and then we're up again because they make a play like an interception on Monday night. We're like, that's it. And then things happen. So, if anything, it's been entertaining, but most of the part, it's been extremely bad for my stress levels. So, but it is what it is. We are very appreciative. If you want to see the video, you can watch it. When we gave the Mr. Football Award last season, he came to our studios, and it was really, really cool to watch him, just to be here and be a part of it. And so we're very, very thrilled that Hungry Howie's is our partner and that we have Darius Slay as one of our partners too. So I know we're running a little long in the tooth here, but quickly, front runners for Mr. Football. We did mention Cam Martinez, of course. He is the guy to beat right now. Who are some other guys that if we have some really, really great playoff action from them? Because again, that is what made the difference last year. What do you think?
Donovan Edwards. To me, would be probably number 2 in the race right now. Just the most dominating tailback prospect we have in the state right now is just big play after big play. A type of guy that can change a game in the blink of an eye, and he's done it on so many occasions through his career, and he's only played 3 years. He's got another year left, and I love what I see from Donovan Edwards. And then, Zach Traynor to me was a front runner, maybe number 2 or 3, but he's fallen back because of the injury bug. So,
how about you, Matt?
Well, obviously, up until last week when Davison kind of got shut down, I probably would have gone with Brendan Sullivan. But obviously, one of the people that we've watched all season long, especially given everything that went down before the season, Abdur-Rahman Yassin has taken advantage of his kind of his second chance to have a senior season, and he's definitely run with it. A trainer obviously was going well. Cam Martinez has got to be the favorite, but another kid who just has quietly slipped under the radar is Christian Dureed at Belleville.
Yes,
they just keep rolling.
Last
they
year
haven't
he
lost a regular season game in three seasons.
The stats that he puts up. I mean, he's someone that isn't drawing the recruiting attention again because he's kind of small. He's a little. He's like he's a savvy southpaw, but he's also he's not built like your typical quarterback.
Yes.
But the bottom line is when you brass tacks it,
he's a winner.
Last year as a sophomore, he threw for like 3,000 yards and almost 50 touchdowns.
Yeah.
This year he's on that same clip. So in terms of a Mr. Football race, you can't ignore him.
Yeah, and the fact that they're in the KLA now, you can't use that as an excuse that it's WEWAC competition and they're just beating people in front of them. He's playing solid.
He's built like a running back, but he plays quarterback.
And I do want to mention this, everybody, before we go, and we still have our comments of the week to get to real quick in our week 9 look ahead. But there were some guys that we talked about on the Mr. Football conversation with Sean Belizian because we wanted to say, hey, we still got a couple weeks left in this thing. Somebody could still get themselves in the top 10. So some of the names that we threw out there, and you can watch it right now at statechampsnetwork.com or on our State Champs socials, who Sean was talking about. But real quickly, Kobe Clark out of Schoolcraft having an amazing season. Jake Kelbert, the quarterback at Franklin. Myron Harris for Chip Valley running the ball like a madman. C.J. Harris, the quarterback at West Bloomfield.
Flipped that switch halfway through the season and is now cruising.
That's right. Tyler Amos at Portage Northern. Again, Tyson Davis at Goodrich. We talked about him already tonight. Avery Moore at New Lothrop. Colin Panachek at Dexter. And one of Scott's guys, Devontae Twyman.
Leading the OAA in rushing.
At Oak Park.
Did not play varsity football last year. Played JV as a junior. And has come on like gangbusters this year, quietly leading the entire OA in rushing. Has more yards than Donovan Edwards.
Yeah, he had a ton of yards in the game that I saw against Groves. He didn't get in the end zone
though, yeah.
So I had to put a highlight of him in because he still ran for like over 200 yards.
His first 5 games as a varsity starter, he was averaging like 155, 160 yards a game.
Insane. Okay, we want to get to, before we get to our comments of the week, you want to quickly go through the Week 9 matchups. So if you would want to quickly, Jenna, read through those, and then we'll make a couple quick comments before we close this thing out. If you have them in front of you. If you don't, I'll go.
Yeah, no, would you mind going?
No, I have no problem. Of course
Okay,
not.
thank you.
I live for talking. Key Week
Yeah,
9
you do.
matchups. All right, our rival series resumes with Matt Mowry. Midland down next week. It's going to be huge. So we'll talk to Matt coming off of that one. Always an incredible game. Thursday, there is a game. Bark River Harris at Ishpeming. And does anybody know what a hematite is?
I believe it's a kind of rock.
No, actually, Jenna knows.
Oh, taking my thunder. Wow. No, it's just
Sorry.
a red. You're fine. It's a reddish black mineral, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it's very important ore and iron. They're a big mining town.
Okay. So that's what a hematite is. I did not know
That's
that.
when my dad's family came here from Europe. They all settled up in the UP for the mining and ore and the iron mining.
All right, so
copper mining.
The Catholic League Championship games are at Eastern Michigan next week, so those are going to be huge, especially who gets into the playoffs. It's going to be really weird now, and we'll see how that sets up. A lot of KLAA crossovers. The Cascades versus the Big 8 crossovers happening up north. Edwardsburg at Pawpaw. Birmingham Groves at Woodhaven. That should be interesting. Lapeer at Davison. That should be very interesting. Pinckney at Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. That one's been moved to the big house in Flint. That's going to be to Atwood Stadium.
Okay.
The Lapeer Davison game. So yeah, that's going to be on the big stage.
All right. Yeah, that'll be definitely well attended. That will have playoff atmosphere all over it. Pinckney at Fowlerville, New Lothrop at Frankenmuth, Mason County Central at Ludington, so a rivalry game in Week 9. Saginaw at Saginaw Arthur Hill, Waterford Mott at Waterford Kettering, Portland at Montague, Beale City at Morley Stanwood, Traverse City St. Francis at Muskegon Oak Ridge, Richmond at Ortonville Brandon, St. Joseph's going to take on Portage Northern, East Kentwood and Rockford will get together, Grand Blanc will be at Saline, West Bloomfield is at the Catholic League's fourth place team, which is Brother Rice. So Rice loses and they draw West Bloomfield. Pewamo, Westphalia is at Williamston. So that's quickly what's coming up next week. So that is it. It is time now as we close out the show for our comments of the week. You guys have been chiming in if you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, and we always pick a few comments as our comments of the week presented by the MHSAA.
All right, so from YouTube by Hayden Reamer, it's in all caps. North taking dubs, baby, with 3 Ys.
I'm guessing he's talking about North Farmington?
Yes, of course.
And then on Facebook from Caleb Schaefer, Breckenridge blows...
Key is weighing in here.
Yes, she is. Breckenridge blows by Oscoda 35-0. Huskies making a statement tonight. And then from Perry Simon, Belleville versus Plymouth next week for game of the week. Calling it now.
I might be getting behind that. That is a clash of titans right now for what's going on in that league right now.
No doubt about it. Plymouth, the fact undefeated, probably just one of the
another
big
coach of the year candidate, and
sure.
one of the real sleeper squads, kind of like Lake Orion. Didn't expect for them to be sitting here at 8-0.
That very well could be a game of the week. It was not in Mr. Mowry's Key 9 Week 9 matchups here, though. So
no, well, we had the crossover games listed in there, but I was obviously unsure.
That's right.
Who was going to match up to whom.
You were. So that is that. And before we go, Scott, why don't you crack open that box?
I've been waiting for
Let's see what we got here.
Rock and roll, baby.
Matt, we'll make sure we save you a slice.
Alrighty.
Yes. So we have the Parmesan, what did you call it? Parmesan garlic crust here. So I'm going to have mine.
All right,
and you
I'm
have
going to open mine.
They just so everyone knows, Hungry Howie's literally invented the concept of flavor crust. You go around the country right now, pizza parlors, it's become kind of a staple of some pizza parlors, and it all started in Metro Detroit in the early 80s.
Cheers.
Ooh, yes.
Jenna's got a gluten-free
Gluten-free.
one, so it's a little bit for everyone. Let's taste it. Of course, it's money, as always. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening, watching today. We will be talking Week 9 football next week, and then we'll get ready for the playoffs. We are here throughout the playoffs, all the way through the state finals. So technically, we're really not even halfway done because we have 8 weeks left of this show. So we will be here for you. Make sure you check out all the State Champs highlights. They'll be coming up later tonight, whether it's on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. It'll all be loaded up. And again, the show State Champs airs every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Fox Sports Detroit. Jenna and I will see you then on your television sets if that's where you enjoy us. Otherwise, for Scott, for Matt, for Jenna, for Kia, for David, who is monitoring the comments, for everybody here at State Champs, we will see you next week.